allowing people to get away with rape and murder because, several hundred years ago something happened to them. Okay, that would be evil. But lo and behold, you get a lot of people saying, oh man, well, we should give them special privileges because boo hoo hoo, X, Y, Z. It doesn't really matter what they say, it matters what's happening. Right? All right. Uh, Muslims are terrorizing the UK, killing people. There's like 16,000 knife crimes a year. And the EU is now, or the UK is now promoting propaganda saying, oh, no, what are you talking about? Knife crime's lowest. All right, so lying about crime stats, evil propaganda, oh, that's evil. Interestingly enough, these are all things that some portion of mankind loves. Okay? They love it. You try and turn them away from it, you can't. They love it. Okay? That's who they are. That's what they are. Now, the light of Christ is a lot more powerful. Okay? These people are commanded to work 60 to 80 hours a week to well up the knowledge and become wiser than evil so that they can face it down and destroy it easily. Okay? That's the power of God. And when God is with you, the miracles of the prophets, stopping of the sun, stopping people's hearts with the word, the miracles will be with you too. The power of God will be with you. But most importantly, one of the main things that God has is love. Okay? If you love each other, you are my disciples. That love is not letting other people get hurt and saying, oh, that's the moral thing to do. That would be cowardice, right? That would go over in the devil's portion. All right, UK, allowing a religion that has been at war with your religion and has been killing your people, Christians, for 2,000 years, into a nation thinking, yeah, it's going to work out good. They're not going to hurt anybody this time. All right, that would be of the darkness and evil of ignorance. All right, so that goes over here too. Although you hear Ursula von der Leyen, a human, stating, oh, it's humanitarian aid. We're saving lives. As their people are getting slaughtered. All right? Yep. And it gets really, really easy to boil down the world events real quick into who's working for who and who's doing what when you break it down to this model. So understanding this model is important. All right, so what percentage of all mankind fell in the garden? All of them, 100%. Okay, they worship and serve what's easy. Okay. Understanding that Jesus says, "All who are not with me are against me," things like that. That is what he's saying in the rawest form. Okay, now most people are naive, they're ignorant, right? They don't know. Okay, but being good is mandatory, obviously, if you're going to be of God. Okay, and so while all mankind, all mortal mankind fell, the completion of the theology is presented in the book of John. But as many as received him, he bestowed unto them the option to become children of God. Okay, you have the option to become children of God, not a free gift. There are parts of the Bible that say, if you do not keep the covenant, God's covenant, you will be abhorrent. Keep these things and you will not be abhorrent to me. Okay, so you have an option to serve God, and you have an option not to serve God. This model is also useful to apply when you are seeing failure. Okay, failed ideologies are resulting in the decline, rape, and murder of Western civilization. Right, we are not gaining power; we are losing power. We are losing control of our nations because we are following the weakness of evil. Okay, that's not something you're supposed to follow. The righteous are supposed to be as bold as lions. The righteous are supposed to be very strong, like the prophets. Okay, there's not a single prophet who was weak. Okay, so understanding this is important because it's not what's sold, right? What's sold is everybody's a child of God. Everybody gets to, but that's not what the book of John says. That's not what Jesus says. Okay, so if you're of Christ, you don't believe that. That's simple. Understanding that a lot of people like to take the easy road. A whole lot of people is going to be critical moving forward in the world because if we keep taking the easy road, these trends will continue, and what will result is a massive division and a massive war. And the longer we wait to address these problems and make ourselves safe, the worse the result will be. lastly, it seems to me like there is something that has enslaved a whole lot of people's tongues, right? This is going to create division and weakness, right? We are all brothers and sisters. We are to operate as one unified body so that we are strong and undefeatable, as God is undefeatable. So, understanding anything that is causing division, anything that is causing uh, the Westerners, stopping them, preventing them, or holding them back, including Russia, from unifying as one, is opposite to working as one body. It is opposite to God. You are to function and act as one singular, strong, united body. And all that other stuff, that ends right now. All right, and so this is pretty advanced doctrine that I'm talking about, and a lot of people, they don't like it. Okay, understanding that an adult person or a child is brought to a faith, a theology, several beliefs, right? When they're young, this is going to be important because looking at people like, oh, they're evil, oh, they're the devil, things like that, that's not really going to be of the love of God, right? If you love them, you are my disciple. This is why Jesus is going around loving and teaching people rather than attacking everybody who's sinful, right? So this is also going to play into what's taking place in Ukraine, right? Putin says, "Oh well, those are demons. They're worshiping whatever," right? This is not true, right? So a person is going to be judged by their actions. Not I said something stupid. Not I got led away into some false religion of hatred or something like that, or I thought I was doing good, but actually it results in the destruction of your nation. And so, one, right, the ways of the darkness result in the destruction of a nation, right? So the ways of Christ, as you'll see, they result in the building and upholding the strengthening an economic boom in a nation. And so understanding that attacking people or looking at people like, oh, they're evil or things like this is not what God desires, right? God wants us to love one another, but that doesn't mean after 2,000 years of war you might ban Islam from your nation, right? So yeah, I know you, okay? It's been long enough. People, in fact, people who haven't done that already, that's kind of foolish. So, naive beliefs that cost other people their lives, that's bad, right? Naive beliefs that damage other people, that's not good, right? Now, understanding what I said, if you were led away, right? If you've been deep in sin, right? God's forgiveness is incredible. Okay, it's beyond what 95, 99% of mankind would believe. It's not anything, right, where you can just go around doing evil your whole life, knowing that you're doing evil and knowing that God doesn't like it, right? But out of ignorance, for example, people who are promoting humanitarian aid, they think they're doing good, things like that. They don't know the statistics on crime, etc., etc. It's gonna boil down to the real world and what wisdom, divine wisdom, really looks like. What it really takes and really is required to build and uphold a nation, right? So, remember that the core of God is love, right? You should be not looking at sin, okay? Do not go around looking at people's sin. You'll start harping on it, okay? It is a lot easier to hate than it is to love. It is a lot easier to say that stinks rather than thinking up something positive to say, right? So understanding that Christians, right, disciples of Christ, people of the faith, those who are seeking God, right, you are commanded to focus on the light, to well up the light within you. That is what we worship. We worship God, right? So don't be looking at people's sin, chasing them down, saying, oh, you're sinful. But, you should understand about where God's mercy ends, right? If people are destroying you, well, that's about the time where God's mercy ends, right? And so understanding this is critical. Do not get focused on sin. Focus on love. Focus on the goodness of God.